So we got a whole bunch of agents, right? And agents work together in a swarm. And swarm is really a generative adversarial network with other dynamics involved. So something that language models can do is cooperate. And that's sort of different than an adversarial relationship. When you think about stuff like a code review, right? When you had somebody else look at your code and go like, oh, this could be fixed, or like, oh, if you get rid of that there, you can do this thing here, etc. That's a collaborative dynamic, but it is adversarial in nature. Like when we think about it in a game theoretical, very abstract sense, if we think of ourselves as agents in that scenario, we have agent A that has produced code and agent B that must review and be adversarial to that code, right? And say, well, there are problems, maybe. And so this agent is incentivized to find problems and set up to find problems, right? That's like literally their job. And so they go in with the mindset of like, there's problems in this code and I'm going to find them. And when you code, you can't be in that mindset. You need to be like, I can do it. I'm going to write this code. It's going to go and it's going to work. All right, I'll fix it. All right, it's almost working. All right, it's almost working. So you have a totally different mindset. And you get a view on your code, an angle on it that another person doesn't have and can't have. And so you understand your code in a way that other people do not understand your code. And you can't magically put their brain on and see their code or your code through their eyes. You can't do it. It's not a real thing. So you have to have that other person's view, right? Same thing with agents. Language models, this is a very, very effective process. And this is because in both of those cases, it's a generative adversarial network of agents, right? One agent critiques the other agent's work. The first agent iterates on their work, and the agent comes in and critiques it, right? It's a very standard dynamic that we see across all of human society. Train some language models on human society. Surprise, they work like us. I don't know, So what we can find here is if we get agents into a group, they work really well together. Now, there was a paper about Minecraft, right? The AI Minecraft paper. Let's see, as a group. I don't think, I can't remember the paper thing. But like, basically a group of AI learn to play. Was this in June? That might be it. I don't recall. I'll have to find it. It's not like on this computer's Google background or something like that. But anyway, don't worry about it. Right now, what we're talking about is this thing. So what we do is we want to get a whole bunch of agents together and get them to like critique each other's work. This makes the work better because of the dynamic that is present in kind of that game theoretical sense, where it doesn't really matter about who is the agent and what is the agent. We can kind of depersonalize and abstract the writer of code into an agent, and when an LLM is doing it, or sorry, not an LLM, wait, yeah, a large language model, sorry, words are hard, then it works the exact same. So what we usually want is like three maximum agents. Because communication is NP hard. It's very much like how teams work. You get too many people on a team, they can't work. You can't do it. Why? It takes too long to have a conversation. Why? Because literally it's n factorial, And so as we add agents to a swarm, if we put them all in the same group chat, it's too many agents to have a real conversation. So the real magic number is 3 agents, but you can do 4. You can do 4 if it matters that there's 4, right? And I've kind of played with a lot of this. I ended up with a tool planner, a tool reviewer, a tool creator, and a tool alignment agent. So this is a 4-person team, and this is a 3-person team. The recruiting team is a 3-person team, and the the swarm architect is actually just a 2-person team, right? So you can see these as teams if you want. And so I started with Swarm Architect. That was the one that I showed y'all last time, where what we do is we go and we create a swarm. So I'm just gonna walk through this because it's like a simpler version, right? And the flow, tracing the flow is the thing. Okay, so when we init it, we got our IDs, we create our agents, or we get them from OpenAI, right? These have prompts in them. This is the architect. This is the one that actually calls the function. Splitting these up, it's helpful. I don't know why. The one that makes the plan thinks in planny steps, and then the one that writes the code thinks in, personifies itself as a coder, so it instead of as an AI, and that helps. It doesn't write code like an architect does. It writes code like a script dev does, if that makes sense. So, so what I do is I have a tools thing, and I made this into a hash map because later when we get a tool call, we want to look up the name by key. And so it's just the most efficient to put this stuff in a dictionary by key. And so self.create agent, that's actually a method, right, on the swarm architect. And what it does is it takes the name of the agent and the instructions that we want to pass to the agent, and what it does is creates it. It calls self.client.assistance.create, right? Okay, so we also go and we get all of the agents by their name and we put them in the swarm. And that's all of the agents that have been created on my OpenAI account. That's what this method will do. So we'll use these things later. We'll use this to look up the swarm if we need to, and if we've got a bunch of agents, their names and stuff. So when we create an agent for a goal, what we do is we go run the swarm architect thread. Okay, so now here's the flow for threads, right? You create a thread. This is like open up a group chat, create a thread, add a message to the thread, type something in, run, hit send. So then we wait for it to be completed. While run status isn't completed, we retrieve the run, so check it, and then we'll check it again. Once we hit the end of the while loop, we'll check again what is run status. Is it not completed? And then we list the messages. Just in case the run was completed, we list all the messages, and then we print the status, and we wait until it's done. Eventually it's done, and then we just print all the messages and return the run and the thread, which is key because now we have the run and the thread, and we can run creator agent on it. So what we did here is we got the architect agent, and that agent just makes a list of things that it's gonna make, right? And so then when we run the creator agent down here, we just pass in a different ID. When we do the run, what we're doing is, this is the assistant that I want to reply. So it's like you're like in a group chat and you're like at creator agent, right? When you add that to your message. That's kind of conceptually what's happening here, right? So please create the agents, and this once we hit send, go back up here, and now we're at the run. We get the run, and then we handle the tool calls. So if you're using this code, handle tool calls means like maybe these agents will call tools. So after you hit send, this is okay, and now if there's any tool calls that get added to this thread, basically handle them. So it's kind of like an event handler. I didn't use that, I didn't use that structure or whatever, but I just, whatever. Anyway, handle tool calls. Okay. So waiting for this run status to be completed. So y'all have seen that before. Or just check the run. Now we know what the status is for the next time we come up to the while. If the run status requires action, and so this is how we're handling those tool calls. If the run status requires action. So we were checking for completed, but if it stops, it pauses on required action. Here's where tools work. So the tool outputs, we have to kind of have those because we have to get done with all of the tools before we send the run back, right? So now if there's 10 tool calls, we have to run all 10 tool calls. If there's one, we just have to run one, but whatever happens, we have to send back the same number with the tool call ID. So you can kind of see here, we collect those down here after we're done running the function. Tool call ID from here with the output success. We're just sort of hard coding that there because I know what this is sort of a prototype thing. Sometimes you want to send data back to ChatGPT. Other times you don't, So then we do tool equals self.tools, tool call.function.name. So remember how I said tools up here? We want to be able to find the tool by its ID, create agent. Okay, and we only have one thing in there, so cool. So now down here, we got JSON, or sorry, we find it, right? Whatever it's called, and there's only one, so, but that's how you do it when there's 20 or 30 of them. Tool keyword arguments, we pull those out of the tool call.function.arguments, right? Tool quargs. This is a Python convention for pulling the JSON out and passing arbitrary JSON into a function and using that as the arguments. So that's star and then a dictionary. So that's a way to use a dictionary as function call inputs. That's what you're seeing there. So anyway, we call the tool, which we got from our list of tools. We don't really do anything with the result. So cool, it's great, wonderful. And then we submit, once we're done with all of the tool calls, the outputs to the run. And then while run status is not completed, we just, wait until it acknowledges that all of the tools are done. And then we just, print those messages out, I think, and then we're good. So that's the swarm architect. We kind of covered this last week. Let's talk about swarm equipment. Okay, so we have the tool swarm, which is this new thing. We also have a recruiter swarm so that we can use existing agents instead of creating new agents every time. The recruiter agent needs a critical agent before it actually pulls the agent, the things out, right? Before it creates the swarm that we're actually going to use. And so this is where we start to need more than two people, right? We need the recruiter who looks at a lot of different agents and is like, looks at all their system instructions and everything, and it's like just trying to decide on agents that would be useful. But if we pull too many agents over, it cascades into failure because the swarm's too big. So then we have the critical agent whose job is to reduce. Take the recruiter agent's generative, just throw out ideas, pick all the people that you might want on this project. And then the critical agent's like, we don't need that many people on this project. We need 3 people on this project. Let's pick 3. And so the critical agent winnows it down to 3. And the evaluator agent makes sure that these 2 haven't critically failed and actually is the one to hit the button to create them and focuses on equipping them with the right information and tools. So we need all three of these agents. For the tool swarm, we got to plan it, review the plan, write the code, and then evaluate. The alignment agent is in charge of the process. And so rather than just a sequence of personalities, which is kind of what the last one was, right? We just have like a swarm architect, plan the swarm, and then we have the swarm creator, right? In this, we have multi-step elements, you know? So let's kind of go through the flow methods, right? So let's see. Let's see, that's critique tools, determine needs, for goal. Given the goal, determine what tools are needed. Okay, so it just says, oh yeah, swarm tool thread, that's the one. Okay, so that's actually not what happens first though. What happens first? First, we go and recruit agents for goal. We don't really have to do that. We can just determine the tool needs for the goal, so it's fine. But anyway, when we create the tool swarm recruiter thread, swarm tool thread. Okay. What we do is we say your role is to create a plan, and we get the tool planner agent for a list of Python functions that can be used as tools for AI agents to complete the following goal. Right? Please describe any tools that are needed that can be used to complete this goal, which a script writing language model will then use as project specifications to actually write the Python functions. So we've told it, a script writing language model will then use as a project description, right? Or as project specifications. Anyway, to actually write the Python functions. So, so then after that, alright, we do the run and then we handle the tool calls. We actually kind of don't really want to do that here because tool planner doesn't do anything. Later we probably want to do like I used to have this was kind of still in development. I think actually we want to get rid of that. I was having a list of tools we already have, but then I got rid of that because it kind of complexifies the process. And makes it worse and not better. So anyway, but just creating this plan, I took away its tools, so it doesn't matter. So anyway, we create the plan or create the thread, and we return that, and then let me find this up here. Okay, it's is it in here? No, that's not it. It's, sorry. Alright. Command F. Cool. Okay. So we give it the goal, and then we handle the tool calls, because we want to do it in here. And then we have the list of messages. And I'm starting to log that stuff. So I've kind of gotten a little bit better about the logging with this iteration of it. And then we critique the tools. So it's go get the thread, make a plan for the tools, now critique the tools that were suggested, ensure they're relevant to the goal and necessary. Basically, robots will scope creep so hard if you let them. It's what tools could we use? And it's I got 50 tools you could write. And you're you don't need 50 tools. What are the tools you really need? Elena, did you have a question? You want me to pause?
Yeah, sorry. What do you mean by flow method?
Flow methods are the thing that kind of controls the main action of the object, right? This is not the very best way to structure things. It's kind of just an emergent structure that I haven't really refactored. If you find yourself with a lot of flow methods, you're doing something wrong. But So I like to like mark them. I'm like, I got a lot of flow methods. It's fine, you know. So you're sort of seeing mid refactor work, I would say. But anyway, so we critique the tools for the goal, and that's actually the most important part. And we, you know, tell them go, and then we handle the tool calls. We actually don't need to do this here either because there's no tool calling at this point. Like, I know that, so I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of it. Actually, I think what we need actually that there because it just waits for the thing to be done. So if there's no tool calls, it's not a big deal. And then, so we run the run and then handle the tool calls. And then we log what happens to the file. And then in here, actually, yeah, in handle tool calls, no, that critique is not the next step. After we critique the agents, no, that's create critique agents. Hold on, I'm sorry. Let me find it. Well, we can list tools, we can create tools, which is really just write to a file, and then we can handle tool calls. And in here, basically all this does is, you know, wait for 1 second for the run status, pull the run status, and then do the same requires action thing. Like, there's not actually any differences here. Yeah, there's no real differences here in the like handling of the tool. It's just that I think, let's see, upon reviewing and deciding which agents are needed, no, that's agents. I think actually the critic might be calling request tool. Yeah, if you accept the tool and it is in alignment with your directives, so then, yeah, tool alignment agent. So the alignment agent makes the final decision. That's what I've found, is that like as final decision makers, alignment agents are really good. As planners, they're not great because they're too high-minded, if that makes sense. You kind of want a boring project manager who's not like pie in the sky. They're just like, we have 6 weeks, you know, kind of person. But with the alignment agent, you're like, are these tools gonna like erode society? And the alignment agent, you know, and so you kind of want that idea. So having the alignment agent be the final judge actually has worked better than putting it up front. So anyway, the alignment agent reviews the tool and actually calls the create tool method, saves the tool to a file. Oops, no. Command and we manually give it the tool. And anyway, so once the agent calls this function, let's see, oh sorry, that's the create tool function, and that should not be there. I apologize. I think I moved this very recently. But anyway, there's a request tool function. Where is request tool? 1 second. Request tool. It's a thing. Okay, cool. So please call the request tool function with each tool name requested in order to request the tools. Okay, I see. So I forget, yeah. So this is the hard thing about it, is I have tool planning agents as a 2-agent flow, and then they hand it off to 2 other agents, a code writing agent and a code reviewer agent. So we have planning and alignment, and then the alignment agent checks the output of the coding agent. But what we do is we actually create another thread. So the tool reviewer agent is the one that actually calls within handle tool calls, the tools that were requested, and then it, when we call handle tool calls, request tool is a tool. It's a tool that another agent calls, but it's also a whole LLM conversation, right? So we have this thing. It's like very top to bottom. It's not super dynamic. I haven't really made it very responsive or anything, and so I kind of cover that in a little bit. But for now, we just say, please create a tool called tool name. It can be used to accomplish the following goal. The tool should take the following inputs and produce the following outputs. But please review the tool that was created and ensure that it will accomplish its defined task and not do anything outside of its defined task, and that it follows good coding practices for observability and readability. And it's really important that you put readability, y'all, because otherwise they'll write single letter variable names and stuff and you won't be able to tell what's happening. Ensure it is a pure function that does not rely on outside state, because you really want that kind of stuff, except through interaction with an API or database is needed. The parsing of natural language is involved. This is important as well. If you're going to have a robot write tools, sometimes you're going to have a robot write a tool that a language model parses. I wanted it to write curriculum re-parsing tools so that you could take some pages that were not formatted well and reformat them with a language model. It really just wanted to write Python to do that. And so telling it stuff like, if the parsing of natural language is involved, prefer to use a call to OpenAI to execute a call to a language model. It will accept these inputs and generate these outputs. The goal of the tool is to tool description. And so, then we just tell the coder, and again, we're just kind of manually going back and forth. Tool creator agent, tool reviewer agent, and then we do tool alignment agent. Please review the tool, and then and the coder gets, please modify the tool based on the reviewer agent selections or suggestions. Please modify the tool based on the alignment agent suggestions, and then please review the tool that was created and ensure it is relevant to the goal and necessary to accomplish the goal, and that it will accomplish its defined task. And yeah, here we do want the create tool, and it does actually just write the code to a file. So when we run this, and it should work, it worked before, y'all. We had, oh, I deleted them. Let's see what we can do. Hold on. Alright, cool. Swarm equipment, go. So it won't recruit. All right, so these are all the agents involved. This is the tool swarm in progress, basically. I don't know. It takes a while. I recommend not always using the updated GPT unless you need to use tools. If the thing needs to use tools, let them use tools. Just to remind everyone what you get with this schema here, if you want to give tools on a run, like give an assistant tools, you just have to pass in a bunch of the JSON that you would do when you add a function to the agent. Here, if I were to go in here, see how it's got a function create tool, saves the tool to a file. So that means that the alignment agent always has access to that. And the thing that's frustrating about it is that once the alignment agent comes in, it like creates all the files and then it rewrites them, and it creates all the files as like pass statements and then comes back and rewrites them. So it always takes like a second to do. All right, did you do it? You didn't do it. Didn't do any of that. Hold on, let's see. In this simulate, I did not have the ability. You do. Oh, it like got confused about the fact that it has tools. That's weird. I don't know. Hasn't done that before. My other chat logs have. This one like, just yeah. Somewhere in here, like it did write a whole bunch of tools, but it didn't really put them in here, and I didn't save them, so I'm sure it will be fine. Eventually we'll get an actual good thing back. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause the recording. Let's play. So we got on the, you know, we got it to classify resources, normalize the format. There's like a pseudocode here, so we didn't, you know, get it to completely stop pseudocoding. This was great. I like this one, so it's cool. Curriculum tree, I liked this one, and saving the normalized file, I liked that one. That was fine. Twilio email sender, SMS messenger, these seem great, so we'll use those. Anything else that it has? No, it's just waiting. Okay, wait, we're gonna get some more. But we got some other tools. Categorize resource, this just doesn't have anything in it. Normalize format, so I'm just not gonna, you know, like reject. Throw these in the rejects bin. Rejected. Rejects. All right, cool. So the big thing is having a planning subswarm and a code production subswarm. Like, don't have them all in the same chat. Try to have mostly dyads, triads at most, you know, like a sort of boss agent that begins the chat and sets the tone, and then you have like the planner and the doer, and then you have the boss agent be the acceptor, and that's a thing. And if you call it the alignment agent or something else, something actually semantically, like, this is the guidance agent, or like, you know, I don't know, the alignment agent, that kind of stuff, like the lead agent, the CTO. Like with chat dev, it was important you use CTO because linguistically, semantically, in the embedding space, CTO authority in like how they're spoken of in blogs and stuff, that's like what matters. And so it's like, we gotta write something that will please this other agent, you know, because of that's what we wrote about. So yeah, here's server management. Okay, didn't do it, didn't, not loving those. Let's try again with this one. Yeah, let's do it again. But yeah, we'll throw those in the rejects. It helps to do this actually, because you can actually use some of these things as what's called few shot training, right? The big thing about LLM, the LLMs, if you look at the LLM eval, or like the thing that's kind of hosted on, where is it? It's hosted on Hugging Face somewhere. Maybe, fine. Is it this one? Yeah. No, that's Video Diffusion. LLM leaderboard. That's the one. So, a lot of these what they do is they get these different challenges on them. There's all these reasoning challenges. You see these hella swag, MMLU, truthful QA, 25 shot, 10 shot, 5 shot, 0 shot, 5 shot, 5 shot, 3 shot. When I was building a classifier with GPT-3, I had a 25 shot training set. It wasn't really a training set. It was just something in the prompt that was like, here's the example of what I want you to give me back. And what I used it for was labeling actions. I was like an RPG, and it would come up with 4 random moves that you could do. And you had to pick from one of the moves. And then we had to figure out, what are you doing? Are you picking up an item? Are you moving? Are you like attacking, right? We had to have GPT tell us. And so we said, okay, well, here's 25 random moves that we found that users did. And they were LLM generated, so they were all very diverse. It was like, pick up the rusty sword, you know. And so it's like, what is that? Well, that's pick up item, right? So we gave it a 25 shot challenge, and then we fine-tuned the model using the generated data from that 25 shot challenge. But we looked through the generated data and we looked at the mistakes. We corrected 2 mistakes. They were both reasonable people could differ type of mistakes, and the fine-tune had no better capacity to judge than the non-fine-tune thing. So, you know, we had it classify a bunch of like user-generated stuff in order to fine-tune it. And then we just kind of like visually checked it, but you know, it was not, we didn't really need to fine tune it because we had that 25 shot. So when you are creating an assistant and you go in here and you're like, okay, like it's not just character.ai, right? It's not just like, well, now we can store the prompts here, right? For example, we have the reviewing agent. The reviewing agent is supposed to, let's see. Nope, it's critically assess the plans made by the planning agent. Okay, so that's not who we want. We want the evaluator. Okay, is that the one? Is this the one? Let's make sure. Evaluator, EUOG. All right. Tool swarm. Tool swarm. Planner, reviewer, creator. Oh, I guess it's reviewer agent. Okay. Please critique the tools that were suggested. Please review the tool that was created. Okay. Let's go back to the assistant and we'll say, okay, the reviewing, no. Sorry, I'm trying to find it. Evaluator agent? No. Planning, reviewing? No, I think it was, here's the tool developer. Here's the evaluation agent, this one. Okay. PHOIT. No. It's this one. Okay. Well, we'll find it. Hold on. Because that's the one we want to edit. Okay, reviewing agent. Okay, so we're using the wrong agent, I think, to review, because it doesn't have anything that says, hey, don't allow, you know, bad code, right? So there's the developer agent, and here's the evaluation agent. So I'm gonna actually I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna change it. Oh no, it's the alignment agent. Now I'm realizing, I'm sorry. Okay. The alignment agent actually creates the things. So that's where we put that information. Sorry, I'm like remembering what I did this week. Okay. No. No. Evaluation, critic, reviewer, planning, alignment. Which one? Is it H6IC? Yeah, it is. It's this one. Okay, so this one is the one that can create the tools. There we go. Okay, it is. So here's what we want to do. When reviewing a tool, wait, who evaluates? I think we were using the wrong evaluator. I think that was a problem. So having a 5 agent swarm is okay. Oh no, this was it. This is the evaluation agent that we wanted to use. Okay. Sorry, y'all. I'm trying to remember. It's a lot of things. Tool reviewer, tool creator, self dot tool code reviewer, agent ID. Cool. Great. All right. Now we're gonna go find this thing where it's being used, where it shouldn't. Please create a tool. Tool creator, tool reviewer. All right. Tool code reviewer. Great. Now it will actually review the code. Okay. Now we can say like verify that they function appropriately. Ensure there are no example, to do, or implement logic here comments in the code that it works for immediate deployment to production given the API keys are properly set up. Okay, so we edited those instructions. We'll go ahead and save that. We'll run that. We only need GPT-4, frankly, for this one, so I'm going to change that because it's more expensive to run the other one, and so, like, you know, it's ideal to try to use 4 where you can. Call Discord API. Handle bot errors. Okay, none of those worked. So I've generated a whole bunch of, like, these are empty. These shouldn't be even existing in the first place. I'll delete the empty ones. 2, 3, 4, all of these. Alright, delete. Update bots. Okay. Delete. Cool. So we tweaked which things. We sort of tweaked the architecture of the swarm there. We have a bunch of rejects. These are excellent rejects because it's like to do implement the API analysis and categorization logic. It's very complex. It's a lot of text. It's not implemented. So we've got good examples, and what we can do is in the same way that like there's all of these like 25 shot, 10 shot, 5 shot. This thing, a test to measure a text model's multitask accuracy. 57 tasks including elementary mathematics, US history, computer science, law, and more. So with a 5 shot, or you know, they get given 5 examples, answer these questions accurately. That works. It helps. So these are easier than a 0 shot, for example. So let me just see what happened down here. Let's see. It's in progress. All right. So we'll use some of these rejects, like this one. Well, no, this is fine. This is actually fine. So I'm gonna delete it because it's not actually like a bad example, and you kind of want a bad examples like this. Code to send report to the channel. Like, that's not very good. It's not very helpful. So we'll actually take these, and we'll just copy them. We'll go back over here. I know it's running. So examples of placeholder text to ensure against this code is not implemented. It should not be accepted. So now this is a one-shot. This is a one-shot training. I just made it into a one-shot training thing. Okay, so there we go. Requires action, requires action, requires action. Here we go. Summarize conversation. Await. Summary, summarizer. Summarizer, pipeline, summarization. Cool. From transformers, import pipeline. Hey! That is pretty much what we will be doing. That's pretty cool. Bot.loop.run until complete. Whoa. That's great. Send message. That's the actual thing. Aha. Alright. That's pretty cool. Manage roles. Hey. Log server events. Initialize Discord bot. Looks like we've got a Discord bot in here, so these are great. Command listener. I'm gonna actually drop these in the tools. These are great. These will be useful. So now my swarm can do all these things. Like, y'all, that happened in an hour. Less than an hour. Is that now my swarm can do all these things. Whoop. I don't know what I did there, but send message. Anyway, swarms are very powerful. You know.
That's crazy. Also, do you have like your code is like, for me it's complicated and all I do I break it.
Oh yeah, no, I mean my
Do you
code is
have
not.
do you have like, I don't know, like level 0 version?
I tried to make this as uncomplicated as possible. I could probably abstract some more stuff in here, and yeah, I'll actually go ahead and stop the recording.